a gang in this podcast right now. This is the first time I've ever had this many people on one podcast, right? So obviously, you know what I'm saying? We got my man TaylorSage. You know, if y'all don't know, go ahead and say what's up to him, Taylor, man. You know,
what's going on?
We got my boy Biggs. You know, what's good, bro? What's up,
good,
man?
Bro?
Yeah, you out here? My man FBM, we got checking in down there in that bottom right corner. What's up, bro? Ooh,
what's up with the fresh fade?
Oh,
I see you, bro.
Damn, bro.
Man, that shit look clean. That clean, dog.
Thank you, sir.
And we got OGbadKarma, man. I think he's in the kitchen. He said he was making. He just popped through the curtains. Like, hold on, bro.
I'm out here making this Kool-Aid. I'll be right back.
That Kool-Aid, that blue Kool-Aid, man. So, yeah, man. So I guess, like, you know, kind of wanted to bring everybody, I guess, back in here. And, you know, we were talking about community earlier today. I was on my live stream. And I guess, you know, like I kind of wanted to, you know, like I didn't really have a lot of time to talk about it the way I wanted to talk about it. You know, obviously I'm, you know, dinner time, lady just got home, things like that. And yeah, so I kind of wanted to just bring some of the community in and I guess speak on this, guys, and you know, just really talk about it and you know, just kind of just get the scene's perspective in terms of like the community and everything going on in the scene. So you know, nothing in really particular, just kind of like I just kind of want to let the flow a little bit, you know, just the atmosphere of the stream, man. You know, you gotta just kind of speak, and I guess we'll just kind of go around and bounce on everybody and just, you know, like just take different perspectives and just kind of, you know, go from there on it. And yeah, I mean, nothing crazy, man, nothing too insane here. So I guess I'll start with like to my right, you know, for TaylorSage, we'll just start him, man, and just kind of just talk to us, man. I mean, like, you know, earlier, just, you know, everything we were talking about, just kind of bring that into full circle and like, you know, just where do you stand and what do you think about the Oklahoma City FGC and community, man?
So I'm a little divided. So I think like there are some wonderful things about the community. And it's one of the things like you know, you described earlier about like older players and younger players. You would definitely describe me as like one of the newer players that have come around. You know, some of the things that I think we do are fantastic. Like the speak, that's how I got into it 2 years ago. Like, I think the you know, people for the most part wanting, you know, being inclusive of other people, wanting to play and playing a lot. I love it. I think there's a lot of talk of like, you know, we want to get people better. Like, you know, people who want to get better, you just got to go grind and ask players. You know, I feel like I've made a jump to where I'm, you know, I'm not the best, I'm not Ray, but I think I'm a pretty good player here in Oklahoma.
Okay.
And I think like people talk about it, but I don't see a lot of people playing every single day. I do. I'm trying to get people to play every single day or like have a community for it. So it's just showing up, I think, is the biggest thing. Just show up to stuff. Just to kind of get, I know we're going to get off a little bit on the topic, but just kind of like, you know, kind of why we're here in the first place.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that we're like, you were talking about, I think like, you know, the scene, you know, we still have a long way to go. We're kind of like not, you know, that great. We getting whooped by Texas and stuff. You know, for sure the last two tournaments, they definitely took it from us and we could get better. But I take that personally. I'm like Joakim Noah. Like it's my brothers and no one else. Like you say anything about anybody, like I really like take that to heart.
Okay.
And when I hear like we're doing online strats, and I know we're saying that's not what we meant and stuff, but that's kind of where I get from that. I'm all about like, if somebody comes in here, we need to be saying stuff. We need to be protecting our house. I think we, you know, as a community, I would like us more to grind. I know not everybody's as crazy as me that wants to play every single day, play Tekken, or whatever game that you want to play. I know there's a lot of non-Tekken people watching, but I think, you know, the biggest things is, you know, showing up is the biggest thing for like helping the community.
Okay. Yeah, for sure.
I just like threw a lot of stuff out there. I don't know where we're going with this.
No, man, definitely. I mean, like, it's just more so like just how you feel. You know, that's just I'm just trying to get just an understanding and like how you just feel and kind of for the viewers, just kind of give them a backdrop on it too. You know.
Let me just put a period on it. I love this community. The ones that, you know, everybody I've met. Like my favorite thing to do is to sit down and play with you guys playing Tekken. That's my favorite thing to do right now. I love this community. I'm diehard for it. So. I wanted to keep growing. I wanted to keep better. And I don't think we should talk shit about us too much. I think we should show criticisms and stuff like that about it. But the whole thing, like, you know, none of us are trying to grind to get better. That ain't true. That's just false.
Yeah.
So.
Definitely, man. Okay, I feel you on that. And you know, just kind of, I just want to, like, for the first part of this, just kind of just move around the, you know, the room, man. So just Biggs, I guess, like, I'll just move from you, man. Like, you know, just there, and then we'll go to BadKarma and then FBM, and then I'll just kind of come back around and go from there on the next series, man. So what do you think about it, man?
Are we talking about community not getting better, or what are we talking about? The scene not growing?
We're just talking about, like, in general, just your general overview of the scene, man. How do you feel about the Oklahoma FGC just as a whole? You know, in general, like, what direction do you think we're going? Do you think you know, we're on the right track, or like just your thoughts on just the overall scene?
All right, so I think a lot of people are talking about, like, wanting to grow the community. I'm not necessarily of the opinion that it's not growing. I think before COVID happened, we were getting a lot of numbers, and I felt like every RDR was getting bigger and bigger. But then when COVID happened, it kind of just knocked all that down. So I'm not really understanding the sort of, like, shock of, yo, we really need to get this community growing right now. I don't know if that's like a knee-jerk reaction to COVID, but I was at the last RDR and we had a lot of people there. So I don't really get the talk about community dying. Maybe it's just per game. Maybe that's people's issue. Some games aren't doing so good right now. But I mean, that's how it is. That's nothing you can fix. The new game comes out, everybody hops on.
Yeah.
Now, for the community in general, I don't think Oklahoma's that good, personally. And it's not just based on my opinion. It's based on me going to other scenes and talking to the people there and asking them what their opinion of Oklahoma is. And every time I do it, it's never anything good. I don't know if y'all traveled to a lot of other tournaments or you played with a lot of other players from a lot of different states, but when you mention any of the, like, top people here, they never have anything nice to say.
Yeah.
So that's my opinion, personally.
Okay, I got you. So it's just, like, pretty much just through experience, you know, in terms of just talking to people and things like that. That's just kind of how you've came to that conclusion about the scene.
Yeah. I mean, I'll give, for example,
granted, you're out here too, though.
Yeah, exactly. For example, for Tekken, you know, in other games, I'm able to make that determination myself because I'm a lot better at other games than I am at Tekken. But let's say I was coming up in Tekken, and when I started playing Tekken, I was out in DC, I was out in Texas, I was out in Washington, you know, playing with all these players, and then I came back to Oklahoma better than I was when I was playing here, right? So I'm asking all these people out there, I'm mentioning names, I'm name dropping people like, y'all know who Raybone is, blah, 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 and they're like, oh yeah, he trash. You get me? So I mean, if he's supposed to be the best player here, and everybody everywhere else, they saying he's trash, and then anytime somebody come from out of state come here and they bop the nigga for free, you know, what am I supposed to say?
Yeah. I get you. So it's just kind of I get what you're coming from on that, man. All right. That's fair, man. I think that's pretty fair. Moving down to the bottom left here, man, my man BadKarma. I don't know if he's still whipping the Kool-Aid up.
Yeah, no, bro. Hey, hit FBM,
okay, I'll hit him. Yeah, man,
and I'll come back and just
okay, that's cool, bro. I can do that, man. I can do that, man. I'll go ahead and jump to my bottom right here, my man FBM. Like, what do you just give me your thoughts, man? Thoughts on the community out here, just the overall of the Oklahoma FGC, the kind of the vibes that you get. And, you know, granted, like, mind you, when I'm talking to you guys about this, it doesn't have to be so much just the player aspect. It can be the TO aspect, just the overall. I want the overall picture of the scene.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. I guess my main complaint is like, or my main thing is like, I feel like our scene is so, like, separated. Like, it's just, I don't know, like for example, like the secrecy of that last tournament. I saw one Facebook post about that tournament in Lawton, and I had to search for it. No talk about it in Discord. No, there's no hype about it. You know, yeah, there's a pot, but like it's kind of kept low key. You know, I get down there, it's just kind of like everybody's just kind of like not wanting nobody to know about some shit. It's just like I just feel like that's kind of lame, like kind of grimy. Like our scene should be like, yo, we have a tournament. You know, we should try to promote it as much as possible, get the most numbers so we can, you know, have the best turnout.
Yeah.
But I feel like it was kind of kept low key. you know what I mean? I just kind of felt like they didn't want that many people to show up. Granted, there's like, COVID going around and stuff like that, but there was a mask mandate. There was stations and stuff to walk in and out of the building to, do what you got to do and sanitize yourself. I just don't understand like why we're so like separated,
Yeah.
That's just my complaint.
So you just feel like as a scene overall, like out here in the FGC, you just feel like kind of we're just separated. We're not really a community.
Yeah, I kind of feel like nobody has each other's backs. I mean, like, yeah, we can all play online and stuff, but like when Texas comes down, it's like, man, like why does Texas win our tournaments? You know what I mean? Like we should be able to like hold it down like for our state and be like, get the fuck off our property, bro. Like, I don't know. Like I don't know. I don't know. The way the brackets are laid out, we're playing locals as opposed to playing people from out of state. Like I had more fun playing casuals. I got to play everybody from Texas, but when I play in our tournaments, I'm playing somebody I could just play, in Oklahoma City. I could drive down to their house and play. It just seems like we're constantly playing locals too. It's just like no one gave a shit about it. It's just kind of like low key, thrown under the rug, whatever. I don't know. Maybe I'm just bitching.
Okay. No, I mean, I definitely feel you, man. You feel as though there's just not a lot of more of the story. You just don't feel like there's a lot of community out here. That's what you feel like.
Right.
Okay.
Like back when DZ was around, it just felt different. Granted, there was no COVID going around, but the vibe was definitely different. When I went to Lawton, it just felt like it was on some like stealth low key type shit.
Yeah. Okay. I think that's fair, man. I think that's definitely fair. All right, and just moving to the bad karma, man. Like, just kind of just speak on it the same way, man. Same question. Like, what do you just your overall thoughts of the Oklahoma FGC, man?
I hope y'all can hear me. As a whole, and also at Coop, send me the link to this so I can post it and get you some more views. As it goes to the FGC as a whole here, when I was heavy in it, it seemed good. We was small, but we was growing because we was grinding, grassroots grinding. Like it started the esports stuff, but we was at Sonny's, we was at RTZ, we was at DZ. Yeah, went to the innovation hub. We just was grinding constantly, doing the streams, editing streams, doing that stuff myself. I just lost the passion for it because excuse me, I seen kind of the fallout coming. Like I seen the calm before the storm almost, and it was kind of like I'm still there. I still support because it's my scene. I feel like it's mine, like not personally, but I feel like it's something that I love, so I still try to support and stuff. But man, it's like there's a lot of people.
You lost your drive for it.
Yeah, there's a lot of people pointing fingers, but there's nobody trying to like help the situation. There's a lot of vague, man, we should do blah, 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 but nobody's actually pushing us on the path. Nobody's actually actively trying to help. And that's why I said it's not a singular thing. I can't single any one person out. It's everybody, players, TOs, local sponsors. Like that whole deal that FBM went to, it's a $500 tournament, bro. How does that happen with like 5 or 6 entries? Like, I didn't know about it until I came to your stream earlier. So it's stuff like that. It's a lack of community, a lack of communication, nobody wanting to actually help. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. I still love the FGC. I still got love for y'all, mainly these people here, Coop, Biggs, Raybone, all the people like that. I still got love for y'all people because I know y'all the ones that actually care, that want to grind. But all these fair weather FGC or esports people, it's kind of the reason why it seems like it's falling off. And maybe it is, but it's just like nobody's really wanting to push forward and find a solution to the issue.
Yeah. Okay. Man, I definitely think that's fair when it comes to that as well, man. All great points all across the board, man. I guess everybody just has like a different viewpoint, right? So I guess like, just kind of just bringing all that in and then just kind of talking about that. I mean, like, where do you guys think that comes from? Like, like obviously we said there's the players, there's the, the TOs, just the behind the scenes of it. And, you know, I'll just start like for me personally, like I just feel like, yeah, like, you know, we've like guys like you, guys like Biggs, like, you know, just been out here for quite a while, you know. I definitely think I've put a lot of time into this FGC stuff. And sometimes I feel like it gets swept under the rug. That's just how I feel. You know, this is just me personally. But you know, like I don't try to do it for anything else but just the love of the scene, bro, and building it up. And I get it. Like I was talking about earlier in the stream, like not everybody's gonna be as passionate as I am about it, obviously. You know, like it's good to see like guys like TaylorSage, for example, right? Like in a way, it's just kind of crazy because, you know, I hate talking like this because I feel like you said, like guys like me, or when you first came in, you know, like I don't feel like I'm much, but like you're looking at me like when you're first coming into the scene, like, well, damn, this is like, you know, the guy that is just like kind of just sparked it for me. And then like, you know, you took it and then sparked it with Ahab or whoever, you know, it's just like, it's kind of like the vibes, it's the energy that passes on. Right. So like, just like where does that like come from in the FGC? Like where does like just where is it going wrong? You know what I mean? Like I don't know. It's just like where is it going wrong? I just feel like we've just been out here way too long to just be where we at. That's just how I feel about it. Like in terms of Oklahoma, I feel like in terms of the Midwest, I feel like we should just be the Midwest. I mean, like granted, there's Texas, you know, we go down for their stuff, but it's not like we haven't been out here long enough to just be, you know, that place where people just come to in the Midwest. So is it like, obviously, like, you know, players, we could just sit here and say, well, we don't come to the Midwest because they're all trash. But like we've had tournaments in the past that had nice payouts, you know? So like, where does that come from? And I guess I'll just kind of just move around and like, you know, if you guys feel free to just chime in whenever, you guys can speak on that.
Where does that come from? Like just us being trash? Is that what you're saying? Or
no, I mean just like in terms of just like the Midwest, I guess, not getting on. You know what I'm saying? Like just like I feel like we're supposed to be in a bigger spot than where we are. So like why aren't we there yet?
People looking out for themselves, bro. It's supposed to be community. It's not, like I said earlier on my stuff, it's like it's just a group of people together. That's how it feels. You know what I'm saying? And then on top of that, like I said, it's a group of people together. We all have similar interests, but it's not really community based. Like I looked up the definition earlier to community, and yeah, that's not. I ain't about to do all that again, but we're not that. We're about 2 or 3 steps away from that. Then on top of that, you know, we got the little cliques and stuff like that. It's different games, so you split it up into. Let's say you take a little small piece. FGC, you take this little piece and you break it in 2, and then we got Tekken, Street Fighter, Guilty Gear, whatever else. Then you split those little pieces off, and then you have cliques inside each game. It's not conducive, bro. It's not conducive at all.
Yeah,
not to growth anyway. Not to, because you know this clique don't want to lose to this clique. This person don't want to lose to this person. You can't grow like that. You can't teach anybody because, you know, you want to win. You want to get this 500, so you don't want to tell somebody else. It's that kind of situation, bro. It's a lot of clicky, a lot of that kind of stuff. People looking out for themselves. And you can say, you know, everybody understands the grind. You got to feed your kids. You got to feed your family. But if it's supposed to be a community, bro, you got to help your people too. If you want to say it's a community, you got to help your people.
For sure. Anybody else
I think
he said exactly what I would say. I mean, that's what I was going to say, man. We got to help each other, really, at the end of the day.
I have a completely different opinion on that.
All right. Let me. I know Taylor was going to say something. You go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead first.
It's all right. Yeah. So I guess I'm not in as dire straits on this opinion for you. I would agree that we're not on the level talent-wise yet as other communities are right this second. But I think like we just you gotta play with everybody a lot. You gotta, you know, every meetup, try to meet each other every time you get a chance. You know, be friendly to everybody. Like grind as hard as you can to get better. Like these are all the things that will help the community. If anybody has questions, give them answers for it. Like all those kind of simple things. That's what kind of helps the community. I mean, just like the fact of like if a new person comes in, every time I go to a tournament, there's like somebody I haven't seen before, and I'm not perfect on this, but I really try to I'll try to get them in the FGC Discord. I'll ask them if they ever want to get games with me on Steam, they can. All those little things help grow the community. and maybe get us stronger because we have more players, iron sharpening iron. And you just have to keep on doing it. And I mean, you got to get people who just want to grind and passionate about it. But I don't think we're as in dire straits. I think just everybody needs to buy in, like a team. Like, why do good football teams work? It sounds wholesome and corny, but it fucking works. Like, fucking buy in.
I mean, it sounds corny, but I was just about to say that it works. So that's whatever works, bro.
Go ahead, Biggs. My bad.
Yeah, go ahead, Biggs.
All right. So when you're saying we're not where we need to be or where you think we should be compared to the Midwest, who are you comparing us to?
No, I mean, like, I wouldn't even so much say as a comparison, right? I just feel like for as long as we've been out here doing this, right? Like, throwing the tournaments, throwing the regionals every year, like, even so much as just to expand, you know what I mean? Like, because obviously, like, if you're doing something every year, you're not just doing it with the intention of like, okay, well, I'm gonna, like, for example, like, Super Bit Wars, King of the Sticks, all these tournaments. I feel like in a sense, yeah, they do these for our community, right? But like in a sense, like you would want to try to expand and get those other states to come and play, and obviously like get bigger names and bigger sponsors, like so on, grow your brand, bro, essentially, right? So like I just feel like, I don't know, for me, when I say that, I guess I'm saying it more or less like we've been out here it's been out here longer than me, like since I've been out here, the 5 years I've been, and it just seems like every year it kind of just stays like stagnant. You know what I mean? Like you kind of just see the same faces like every year, and then granted, you'll see some new ones and some new people come out from, out of state, so on and so forth. But I just feel like in the Midwest, like I just feel like we're supposed to be just bigger than what we are. Does that make sense? I
don't agree with that.
Okay.
So let's say we're comparing to other Midwest states. Let's look at Texas, for example. I don't know if you understand this, but Texas has very deep roots in the FGC. I'm talking about predating 09. Like I've known of like Tone Nguyen in Texas since like 2000 playing Marvel 2. They've been grinding their scene for a very, very long time, and they're where they are now because of all those years. The Oklahoma FGC is not that new. You're saying that, let's say, we've been grinding for all this time, and you think we've been grinding for more time than you've been here. But I would argue that since you've been here, that's been the most time that the scene has grinded. You know what I'm saying?
That's
so
fair. I think that's fair.
The OKFGC, they had people really that started playing the scene back in Street Fighter 4. Now, I don't know if they were doing that in 09 or they picked that up later in 2011 or whatever, but then the scene wasn't anything. So really, when Street Fighter 5 came out, Tekken 7 came out, all these brand new games, that's when we started getting bigger. So I don't think it's necessarily fair to compare us to other Midwest states who have way deeper roots. We're still like in infancy, in my opinion.
I agree with that.
I agree.
Okay.
Yeah, I was just about to say, we didn't have as far as I know, I only came along at the end at Ultra Street Fighter 4, the beginning of Street Fighter 5. So, I agree with Biggs.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, he's right, because I remember, Texas Trash Day playing Tekken 5, like when it first came out on console, driving down to Houston to play and playing in all those tournaments, He's right about that. They've been doing it for a long time, way before I even started.
Okay. So I guess we could say like not so much. I guess we could just say this, right? The past 5 years, right? Do you feel like since the 5 years I've been here, do you guys feel like there has been like, obviously there's been like, growth, right? But like, not at an exceptionally high rate, but like there's been growth. But what do you guys think that could be? What do you think that could possibly like kind of like expedite that? You know what I mean? Like, is there anything in terms of that, or is it just kind of like, like 5 more years? Where do you think the scene will be? Like, does that make sense? Like, is it, like?
Well, before we get into that, are we talking about just the scene as a whole?
Yeah, just Oklahoma FGC as a whole, just as a whole.
Now, with us doing that, do we count Smash? That's a legit question, too. I'm not joking. Because Oklahoma Smash is like its literal own thing. They're
and you know, and that's, I guess, like, you could kind of make that comparison because I see those guys, right? And I'm like, man, just from the time I've been out here to where it's at, you know, I'm like, damn, those guys, it's just really like, it's booming. You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't say like crazy booming, but it's definitely like,
no, it's booming. They could do They can do a 256 max and stack the whole fucking tournament.
Yeah.
Excuse me. I don't know if I'm supposed to cuss on your platform.
But there isn't going to be one hidden post about it. They're not going to hide that post. You know what I mean? It's going to be all over the place.
Yeah.
It's going to be all over the place where everybody can see. Probably the entire nation.
Yeah, the Smash community here is definitely what I aspire, just, you know, fighting games in general to be in total here. But, you know, I don't know. Let me think on that question you asked. I'm gonna see if I can come up with an answer. Let everybody else go.
Yeah, as just kind of like a new player here, TSage. Like, what do you think, man? Like, I don't know. Like, you just kind of, you know, just kind of fresh into it. I don't want to, you know, try to just poke at you like, man, you're just brand new. You know, like, you know, but like, just as a new player coming into this, like, where do you? I mean, like, your expectations for the scene overall. Do you think we were in a good spot whenever you first came, or did you think it was kind of just a small thing? And then granted, it still is, it's growing, obviously, right? But I mean, just kind of give me your thoughts whenever you kind of first came into the scene.
So I missed the this is how new I am. I missed the digital army stuff. So I like came right after that. So like I came in with the curious eyes, like, this is awesome. Like, I finally have people to play a game against, like. So I'm still kind of like that. I'm optimistic about everything. Like, I think like in 5 years, I think the game's going to be a lot bigger. I think a lot more people will want to play, especially since, like, I feel like, and let me bring that up, like, a lot of the newer, you were talking about getting swept under the rug, and there might be some people like that, but there's a lot of people like me who really appreciate the guys who, like, did this for a long time. You bring up Juan and Ray, you for a long sample, like FBM. Like anybody who's been here, David, like, who's been here for a substantial amount of time and really put work and just showed up, like, just been a part of it. Like, we really love about that. I think it's going to get bigger. I think the scene, you know, I don't think we're in dire straits. We just got to keep grinding. We're like looking at half baked. Like, we got to wait until the finished product. Like, keep going.
Yeah. Okay. What do you think, FBM? You got anything on that, or you just kind of feeling the same way with Karma when he was speaking on that, or?
Before you get into that, I just wanted to, because I was reading the chat while you were saying this.
Okay.
Somebody said that they don't think that's entirely fair because there was a scene here in Oklahoma City, like for Soul Calibur 2 in the early 2000s. I don't know about any of that. It says the people on the forefront are entirely different, but the scene has been here just in different places. Like I said, y'all can speak to that more than I can because I ain't gonna lie to nobody. I just started in, like I said, Street Fighter at the beginning of Street Fighter 5. That's 4 or 5 years ago.
When I
wasn't here. I wasn't in the FGC in the 2000s, in the early 2000s. Like I said, there are some names you could probably speak of, like you said, Phoenix, Fox Step, Raybone been playing.
I can comment on that. Not necessarily that I was around back then, because I definitely wasn't. But when we're talking about a scene, we're not necessarily talking about players. So, of course, there is players who live in Oklahoma that have been playing for a long time. When I'm talking about a scene, I'm talking about tournament organizers having regular local events, all that. It's the whole package. So just because somebody was just playing, you had a couple people playing Soul Calibur 2 back then. If that were the truth, then obviously we would be bigger than we are today. So there's a disconnect there.
Facts.
That's just my opinion on that. Definitely. Now you can keep going.
And I feel like too, like, just to kind of jump on that too, like I would almost feel like it would be like how the Tekken 7 OGs are out here, you know, like the guys that were back playing Tekken 4, Tekken, you know, so on and so forth, how they're still playing the game, you know, although, you know, they're like, you know, been around, but it's just like those guys kind of helped, you know, get guys like me involved, and then, like, you know, just kind of pass that baton and just, you know, get that back going. So I definitely see that, you know, like I can see that in that aspect. All right, man.
But you hear like stuff like, you know, about the ATL house, and like Dallas had
House of Goonies.
Mari was talking about a place in Texas that they just show up like every week and just like play together. Like that is so like powerful because you get tech off each other, you get a community, like there's a bond there. I mean, you're going to your temple, man. Like I think that's a huge thing that maybe after COVID we could bring here.
Yeah. And I feel like, I definitely tried to, I mean, like, granted, before I was even out here at Norman, FBM's house, like, I just really think like FBM just really doesn't get a lot of praise for that. That was the house to go to after.
We tried, man.
Yeah, I mean, that was just literally like where I would go, where me and David would go. And that was at the time, I felt like the only place you could go, and then like that inspired me to where like when I moved out here, that was like, hey man, I'm gonna have a Tekken house. Like I just want to have a spot where people can come. And granted, I don't think my girl was okay with it. She was just like, hell no, you're not gonna have all these people in my house. But like it was like, man, whatever. Like I love this game. I want to see this grow. So then like everybody would just, Biggs and them, they would pull up and like I would try to just do little stuff like, hey, here's $20, here's a little tournament. You know what I'm saying? Like in the house, you know what I mean? Whoever takes it, it is what it is, like so on and so forth. But man, I just kind of COVID and just life, I think just kind of just stopped that. And it would be nice to just have like something like that, like you said, just a place where everybody can kind of just bounce, not just so much one house, but just different houses. But I mean, granted, we're in COVID. Like,
okay, so how do we get into that deal where it's like, because somebody just said this in the chat and it kind of piqued my interest. The best players are products of their local scenes. I don't think that's the case here, man. There's some people that's just been grinding in the lab or in the damn hyperbolic time chamber by themselves, bro. And then they come out to these tournaments and turn everybody into dust and walk off. So y'all gotta tell me.
I don't think that the best players
I don't believe that
are the product of their local scene either. Yeah. I think the best players are a product of time, specifically.
I would agree, but I think it makes time more efficient. So I would agree with you that the people who are the most passionate and the people who put the most time in absolutely will be the better player. But the people who can take advice or think about it. Like there's so many matchup problems we have in the Oklahoma City because there's not a person in Oklahoma City who plays that character. I'll take me example. I'm pretty bad against Raven. I don't know Raven because there's not a Raven player I play every single week. But I'm pretty damn good against Brian or Eddie because I play against that every single week. And that makes a difference. So I think if we did have, us coming together, everybody grinding at the same time. Yeah, you're right. If you don't put the time in, you're not going to get good. But it's a tool to make you get better really fast.
For sure.
Also, that has to do with training or teaching, being able to teach people. Because of course, not everybody's going to play Raven. Maybe nobody thinks the character is intriguing enough. So with that, get with your mans. Hey, how do I beat this character? What punishes can I get on a, 11, 12, 13, 14, whatever. I'm not very well versed in Tekken no more. I stopped playing that joint. But
I mean, just fighting in general though, that's not even a Tekken thing. That's just in general.
Just a fighting game.
But it's just you find well if that's the case, just finding out, who can help you. It's just being able to teach people, man. I'm trying to see if I can explain this the way it's coming in my brain. But it's just if you can find a way to teach people the correct way instead of just telling them, hey, you got to punish that. Hey, you got to do this. You can you know what I'm saying? There has to be a way to teach people and bring people in and keep people in instead of just, oh, you trash. Oh, you should have did this. You're supposed to feel it. Why you not playing neutral? These blanket statements, they kind of kill us too.
Yeah. And just kind of to talk about, so I just want to kind of shift gears on that, right? We're just talking about in terms of keeping people in the scene, right? So obviously we talk about I've seen a lot of faces come and go here, and I think Biggs and everybody else here can kind of agree. You've seen those people kind of just get one and Bob, don't come back to the tournament, whatever the case may be. Obviously, some of those things we can't control, right? But do you think as a scene we are welcoming to new players in terms of that, or what is the reason why do you think these players just don't come back? Is it because community? Is it because nobody's willing to teach? Is it because they just have that mentality of like, well, I got bopped, I thought I was good, and obviously I'm not, so I'm out of here. Like, I can't do this. Like, what is it, you know?
If anybody want to speak on that, y'all can. I think it's kind of a mix, but I'll let y'all kind of go. It's kind of a little bit of both.
I think we're pretty welcoming. I mean, every event that I've gone to, most of the time, everybody, like a random person's always came up to me and started asking me questions, and you know, we start talking about whatever. But I think we're pretty welcoming. I think within our community, OG was saying, you know, stuff about cliques and stuff like that. I think he's right about that. I think that's kind of like where the problem is. We have these little cliques, and we kind of, I don't want to be around this group or that group or whatever, maybe because of ego or whatever.
Yeah.
But I think as far as a whole, I think we're pretty welcoming. I mean,
yeah, but I mean, like, it's just kind of just let's kind of chime in on that, right? Like, so obviously that's like a thing, right? Like, you know, like OGbadKarma said it, you know, you're saying it, like just a click type thing. So obviously, like, just as a new player, they might obviously catch those vibes when they first come. Like, well, this is that.
What are these clicks y'all are speaking about? I be playing every game, bro. And I mean, I
don't want to go. I don't want to go next to the Smash guys because they smell bad. So I kind of stay away from that group of people.
I don't even consider them to be in the discussion we're talking about.
I'm just kidding.
Smash people at our local every week. I don't see them.
No,
I was joking.
I know, but I'm just saying, who are these clicks? Like, y'all talking about these clicks, man. Like, you sounded like P-Lot. You know what I'm saying? Like,
nah, man, but like, I'm saying, like, I think it's just like, I don't think it's more so like, where are the clicks? It's just maybe the vibe people might get. Like, well, those guys are already tight knit. So, like, in order for me to get in this community, I have to get through those guys and get that approval to be in the community. Maybe just like the energy or whatever. Like an energy. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
We should never have the feeling.
A group of people sitting together that always sit together, or talking together that always talk together, or studying matches that always study matches, people that ride together, people see it as cliques, blah, 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 whatever. But that's what it is, because some of those groups of people don't want to branch out. They don't want to talk to other people. They don't want to help people with other matchups. They'll talk to their friends. They'll talk to the guy that rode with them. You know what I'm saying? They'll talk to the dude that's live across the street that always plays with them. But as it goes for me randomly walking up like, hey, how do this happened to me at the last RDR. Hey, how do you punish this Geo move that you keep spamming? Mans wouldn't give me the answer. I swear to God, wouldn't give me the answer. So you know what I did? I sat next to them. They start talking about it. Oh, you can grab that. Oh, you can FD it and get out. Okay, now I know the answer. But y'all didn't want to tell me when I asked you.
Yeah.
It's that kind of shit. Like, that doesn't make sense. And it's some of that social anxiety stuff. Like, my answer to this question, basically, that question that you brought up, is a little bit of both. There's this whole era of the instant gratification. People want to win. They want to win now. They don't want to lose. They don't want to grind. And the whole, like I said, it's cliques. It's friend groups. It's not really cliques, but it's, you know, people don't want to step outside their social comfort zones. There's only been a couple people that's ever reached out and just talked to me, or, you know, even said hi or what's up, or I seen you online. Exactly. A lot of people will just look at you. You've seen them. I know I seen you because I see you on Facebook, Discord, Messenger. They won't even speak to you.
That's how I feel. Like, that's weird. That's just kind of, it's just weird. Like, yeah, like I'll see you at, you know, like, this has happened to me before. You know, like I've seen some of these players like at an Oklahoma tournament, and then I go to Texas, right? Like, they don't say anything to me while I'm at the Oklahoma tournament. Granted, like, I'm not expecting them to just come up and go, hey, man, what's up? Cool, bro. You know, like, that's why I always tell people, just, hey, man, if you see me, just come up, say what's good. Like, I just try to talk to everybody, like, regardless of the game. And kind of speaking what BadKarma was saying, like, I think the scene is a lot like that. Like, people only associate with people that play their specific games. I don't think, like, people just go talk to other people that play other games. Like, granted, that's not a problem for everybody, but Tekken players just stick with Tekken players. They don't really try to go talk to the MK players, or the MK players don't go talk to the Street Fighter players because they just aren't interested. I don't know what it is. Like, I don't get it, whatever. But there's been times where, like, I've been in state and then I go out of state, right? I see these people, they know me, I know them because they go to our monthlies, you know, every month. And then we go out of state and I like make eye contact, right? And you just kind of give that stare, like, and then you just don't say anything. You know what I'm saying? I walk by you the whole venue, you know, like just there's no like, but meanwhile, like perfect example, like the Texas dudes, and you can kind of I guess say that with like Dr. African and those guys, right? I guess it's like a click type thing with them, but like anytime I go to a tournament, like Dr. Africa, Omnibus, all those dudes, like I always see those dudes just like boom, click tight, you know what I mean? Just bouncing everywhere, like, you know, regardless of the game, whether it's Street Fighter, whether it's MK, whether it's whatever, those guys just when they see each other, they're like, what's up, bro? You know what I mean? Like from what just my experience. Now it may be different, it may be totally different, you know, their experience, but just when I see them from what I'm seeing, I'm like, well, damn, those guys are like, they go everywhere together. You know what I mean? Like, whereas out here, just I feel like you only really kind of just see that a little bit of that camaraderie just in the Tekken community, if that makes sense.
One of the things I learned just recently, you know, hanging out with Akairis and Mario at Block Party, they would, especially Mario, he will just talk to anybody and grab somebody if he even thinks they look like somebody he's recognized, and like ask them if they want to play games, what games they play, like the most social, and he gets great reactions every single time because of the energy he brings. And I think like we should all kind of mimic that, and I want to start mimicking that where all the time I'm always asking like, hey, have you played any games here? Like, what games do you play and stuff? Like have we met before? Like he does that like anywhere he goes, he's talking to somebody. Yeah. And I think we all should like be a little bit a part of that.
Yeah. What you think about it? I mean, like you was, I mean, like, I kind of just spoke on that. I guess the click shit big, because I kind of overkilled it. But what do you think, bro? Like,
that's the answer I'm waiting on.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
What's up, man? Right? You just sitting there. What's up?
I don't think that this is like a problem personally. Okay. Now, maybe there's someone new who can be better equipped to speak on this, but people have friends. Like at every tournament, you see me hanging out with Osaki, right? So are we a clique? By your definition, maybe we are. But it's not like we're not welcoming the people that want to talk to us. It's just people don't want to talk to us for whatever reason. Now, you're talking about all these different games. Let's say the Tekken people only talk to Tekken people. They don't mess with the MK people or the Street Fighter people, blah, blah, blah. It's like that everywhere else.
Yeah.
You can find Evo champs for MK and nobody knows who they are in the Street Fighter community. The only people that are able to talk to everyone are the people that play every game. So I guess I never felt like I had that problem because I've been played every game already. I already know all these people.
Yeah.
So maybe I'm not the right person to talk about like the click stuff, but I don't really see it.
Yeah.
I think that's probably why you don't see it, because you play every game. That's probably why. And that's it's not at fault. That's probably why though.
What you think, FBM? I know you over there. You just kind of just looking at the phone, dog. Like, what talk to me, man? You know what I'm saying? Like, it was in deep thought.
I'm just like, why? Maybe it's a TO thing too. I mean, I'm just thinking like, why are these tournaments so low key? That Latin tournament just pisses me off. I don't know. I just keep thinking about that.
He's still stuck on that joint.
He's still stuck on that.
Yeah, man. I'm just like, it could have been better, dude. It could have been better. It could have been a lot more people. It could have just been, put out there more. But it was just like low key, man. That's our community. That's a click on its own, I guess.
Yeah, man. I don't know.
TOs, man. I don't know them personally, but I don't want to just single them out or anything. But
I can speak on that a little bit.
It's just it's just frustrating.
Yeah. Go ahead, Biggs.
So with that tournament that just happened, I know there's a lot of blame going around for people who allegedly didn't promote it, or people that were going didn't tell people they were going, blah, blah, blah. I'm gonna tell you why I didn't go to that tournament. I didn't know who the fuck was running that tournament. Straight up. I'm not going to no random ass tournament held by somebody I don't know. They're changing all their rules they put out last minute. I didn't even know they had a game I played until the day of. The week of.
The week of.
And then we didn't know if the pot was guaranteed till the day of or the day before. So this tournament already sounds sketchy as hell to me, right? I was aware of this tournament whenever they put it out. So the reason why I didn't go, I have no faith in whoever's running it. Now, from what it sounds like, it didn't sound like that it ran that poorly from the people that did go. But when you're talking about there's cliques that aren't telling people about this tournament and it's real low key, well, this tournament was run by someone nobody knows. So of course there's not going to be anybody there, right? That's my first opinion, right? And then on to the other people that allegedly didn't tell people because they wanted to take the money for themselves. I can't speak on that. You'll have to ask somebody else.
Yeah.
They should have told me included, but everybody who went should have posted. Somebody should have posted in the chat, me included.
Yeah.
Somebody should have been there. I mean, there was a lot of people there still. There was like 20, 30, but anybody who went should have posted it in there.
Yeah, I mean, like, that's just like, I just feel like that comes back to, I guess, what was that, community, right? Like, you just have to kind of, I mean, like, you have to assume everybody knows, but not everybody knows. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like how, I've heard Ricky say this one like 20, 30 times, like, people don't know how to read, bro. Or like, people just don't, like, I don't know, like, in terms of information going out. So granted, I think it was a little bit at everything. I think it was on the player side. I think it was on, again, like the organizers, like, because I didn't know who they were. I seen it. I seen the advertisements, and I only seen it because, like, I guess they paid for paid advertising, like, so outside of the Oklahoma group, it was just popping up on my phone. But, I'm from Lawton, so of course people are going to ask me, like, bro, you coming down? Like, that's my hometown, so like I knew that. But initially, yeah. And I don't know, maybe I would have to talk to Shard or them, or like how that came about, even Tekken being on the list, because like when the tournament was first announced, it wasn't even on there. Like none of a lot of these fighting games weren't even, there was no pot bonus for them. I think there was like maybe just Guilty Gear, Street Fighter, and Smash. I feel like those were like the 3 games, and that was it, And I don't know. Like, I don't know. It just seems like it's just like a lack of communication out here, whether it's from the TO side, whether it's from the player side. Like, it's just last minute shit. You know what I mean? Like,
somebody in the chat said it's not our responsibility as a player to, give the community heads up on tourneys. It's not, but if we're a community, we should be, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We should be helping on some front, you know what I'm saying?
To some degree, you know what I mean? Like, to some degree.
I mean, it could have been in Discord. There could have been a post in Discord, but restricted.
Yeah, and I agree, because everything else goes through Discord. You see what I'm saying? Like, that's why I thought it was, like,
that's the main hub.
Hold on. Biggs, what you think? Should we have said something as players if we knew about it? This is just devil's advocate deal. Should we have said something about it if we knew about it as players? Or is that not our job?
So I knew about the tournament, so I'm having a hard time figuring out why everyone else didn't know about it. Now, I don't think that's where the problem is here, though. I think the problem is that people didn't know there was that much money for the tournament. Is that correct?
I think that's legit, because I literally didn't know about the 500 till the week of, and then by then it was just like,
I'm gonna be honest with you, I didn't know about the 500 at all. I knew that they had a tournament last minute, but I didn't know how much money it was on. So maybe that's where people are tripping up at.
Now, I didn't even know there was a tournament at all until I found out on Coop stream.
Okay,
I just didn't know it all.
Maybe here's the thing. I think this is a bigger issue than the players promoting this. The reason that tournament didn't get any promotion is like what I said before. We have no idea who's running it. You get what I mean? So, FGC page, you have to understand the moderators there. We got like 2 or 3 of them in this call right now, but the page is ran by organizations basically that run tournaments, right? If they don't rock with you or they don't know who you are, they're not really going to promote your stuff. So from what I recall, whoever posted that tournament in there wasn't even like a moderator. It was just some random person who saw it. So maybe that's why nobody was aware of the tournament. I really don't think that's necessarily our fault. I think that's the organizer's fault.
It's on them too. Like you said, the moderators that are TOs that run tournaments.
But now watch me here. So let's say I do recommend people to go to this tournament, right? I tell them that and be like, hey, you going to this tournament? And then the tournament turns out to be trash. We don't know who's running the tournament. Then it makes me look bad.
Yeah, fall back on you, of course.
You get what I'm saying? So it's a big risk to take.
I get that. So, you know how we talking about like how I guess just like moving like from that, right? Just bouncing kind of into this question. Like we're talking about like we didn't go to this tournament initially because we didn't know who was throwing the tournament. So in terms of just like Oklahoma, right? And like, you know, obviously you got like new organizations like War Guts popping up, you know, in Tulsa, trying to like, you know, get on and promote and, you know, put tournaments on out here. Do you think that kind of hurts the growth for the Oklahoma scene in terms of like, well, okay, I didn't know who this organization was. So because I didn't know this organization, I think we dropped Taylor. I think he'll come back and I'll put him back on. Because I didn't know this organization, I'm not going to attend this tournament because they don't know XYZ. So because they don't know XYZ, I'm not willing to give them a chance. Do you think that that kind of hinders us out here, or?
I'll speak on that too. So there are some people that won't give them a chance. I'm one of those people. Now, does it hinder us? I'm not sure, but I will say if you're trying to get into the OKFGC, you should at least talk to people in the OKFGC. Here's the biggest problem that Ricky and all of them have with every other gaming organization. They pop up out of nowhere, right? And they're trying to run some tournament. They're trying to provide all these big things, and it's just promises they can't deliver upon, right? So my issue with that is, why should I give you a chance if you haven't even done the homework? You get me?
Yeah.
Because it's not me being salty or anything like that. It's because we've seen this repeatedly times in the past. Every new gaming organization that's coming here talking all this shit, how their event's going to be so good, and they don't know anybody in the scene, their event ends up being trash. And that's happened recently too. So I'm not necessarily of the opinion that that hinders them, but I think that's something that they have to do their homework on, the organizer.
Okay.
I agree with that pretty much 100%. I'm not.
I mean, but as a player though, it's like I got to give him a chance because it's like, you know, it could be cool. It might not, you know, it might not be cool, but it's like
you got to give them a chance. But it's like, man, they should have to. Like, you should have to talk to people. You should have to notify some people.
For sure.
You should have to, you know, go through something. You know what I'm saying? You shouldn't be, because there are some events, like Big said, there are some times that I have went to some stuff and tried to vouch for people and got burnt on it because it ended up being bad. And that stuff does happen. So I stopped doing that too. I'm not going to say I just don't go to new stuff in general, but they got to show me that they've done some kind of research or done some kind of study. They got to know somebody, you know what I'm saying? Something's got to flow, because it can't just be like, it's a cash grab. We're out here trying to become an organization, come and take y'all's money, the little money that y'all have, and go on down the road. I'm not trying to be a part of that at all.
What do you think, Taylor?
Sorry, I'm having some technical issues. What was the question? It like hung on me. What was the question again?
I guess we're just kind of talking about like, you know, like other tournament. When was the last thing you heard from us before you had left? We were kind of talking about, we were more or less talking about like other tournament organizers coming into the scene, trying to run tournaments, right? And like, if they don't tap in with people that don't, or who technically already kind of have a stance out here, right? Like HXC or GOE, and they try to do their own thing. But like the community goes, well, I'm not going to that tournament because I don't know any of those names that are, you know, I don't know any of those organizers. Do you think that kind of hinders the growth of the scene, or, you know, does it play any effect, or how do you feel about that?
I mean, yeah, absolutely. I think even if it's little, every little bit of them investing their time into their players, like getting to know the scene, having as big a pot as possible, you know, making it as convenient for players to be in as well, you know, paying their commentators, you know, just being as cordial as possible. It's almost will help them as well, because that will get more people enticed to play their game, you know, come in their tournaments. So, you know, I don't want to get too deep in the weeds. I've been to some great ones so far, and I'm really happy about it.
Yeah.
You know, I've had maybe one stinker, but everything's great. You know, so
Okay.
I'm newer, so I haven't been burned as much as, you know, some of you guys, because how many tournaments? Because, you know, I've been playing a lot of my time in the middle of COVID, but I've been to like 6 tournaments or something.
Yeah.
Like, not a lot. So
I got you. Yeah, I think like just for me, like and this is something I just kind of use as a comparison, right? And like, you know, you guys are gonna laugh when I bring this up. You know, the digital army, right? I gotta talk about those guys.
right.
So like with those dudes, right? I genuinely think, and this is kind of where I stand on that too, right? I think those guys generally had the community's interest at heart, right? In terms of like trying to put on and like throw events for the scene and so on and so forth. I mean, like the prizes were like it was a Kwama Dragon, I think they had for Tekken 7, and I can't remember what the MK guys were getting. Anyway, you know, so like those guys show up and like this is like their kind of first tournament coming out, you know, breaking out of the, you know, the woodworks. Like this is the first one, you know, the first one everybody goes to, so on and so forth. So everybody goes to this tournament, right? Now, this event, they had like pizza. I guess they were like giving out free food, you know, like I guess doing whatever they were supposed to do, you know, in terms of that. And the only thing that I kind of heard that was whack was like when Akash showed up, they wouldn't let him enter. I guess because for some odd reason, I forget the gist of it, right? But anyway, you know, like these guys had this tournament and it was going on, and like, you know, like they were paying out, you know, they paid out. They had a Kwama Dragon on the line. You know, everybody went, participated, did the best they could. I felt like, you know, could it have been better? I definitely think it could have been better, right? So I'll say this is kind of like right here. This is kind of, I guess, where I'll break this off and talk about this, where I think the players kind of screwed this up, and I think the TOs kind of screwed this up. So like, you know, everybody went to this tournament, and granted, we're at RDR that day, right? So like these players that went to that tournament came to RDR later that night, and everybody's asking like, well, how did this tournament go? You know? So I would imagine why they were at that tournament, you know, like this guy's like telling them, hey, thanks for coming out, you know, like and I had talked to this guy before, but he had just had, what I had told him was like, I thought he had somebody that was representing his brand that he shouldn't have represent his brand. And that's what I told this guy. I told this guy straight up that, you know what I mean? Like, I think he had good intentions. He just had the wrong people supporting the brand. Anyway, you know, like, so he shows up and, well, like, you know, those guys come to the scene, the players, like the MKX guys, and everybody's asking like, man, how did this tournament go? You know, and like, granted, they ate at the tournament, they got paid, you know, like got free food, all this shit. And then like, they come to our shit at RDR and they're like, man, it was trash, bro. You know, like, you know, I think they didn't have like something that was going on for the MKX or the MK11 guys. It was something to the effect that they explained. The Tekken guys, I think it was just like more so they didn't let Akash play, so on and so forth. But instead of us as a community trying to, you know, my boy Biggs can kind of vouch on it because that man just fucking put his arms up and just dropped the spirit bomb on him, right? Like just went in on a post. You know, granted, you know, like I get it, but I think a lot of it was just like with the TOs and everything, kind of letting that stay up and letting that rock. You know, like the way they did, it kind of just got out of hand, right? It was like it ended up being like 150 thread post about just dogging these dudes out, and then here they are, like, you know, 2 years later, like we don't see them again. So like, do you guys think, you know, had we not went as hard on them on their first tournament, you know, in terms of like, hey, this is what you need to do better this time versus this just was trash, you know, and like just having it to where like he was probably thinking, well, I don't even want to, this is my first one, this probably be my last, I don't even want to do it again because like just the feedback I got off my first tournament. Like, do you think that would have panned out a little bit different, or like, you know, as just a scene, did we go about that the right way? Because I always think about that.
No. The answer is no.
No, not at all.
The answer is no. But y'all went and I didn't, so I don't know.
Yeah, and that's what that was. I couldn't really.
I was at RDR at that point. I think I was streaming. I was bringing my rig to RDR so. Yeah, but that's when it was bi-weekly beatdown. So yeah, y'all gotta speak on that. I didn't go to that tournament.
Yeah, you know
they had it on the same day as RDR.
It was on the same day.
Same day.
Same day. God. So like, you imagine there's going to be some competition there, right? Obviously, like, like we're all like, oh man, it's cool. Everybody can get in. But like, let's just be real, man. Like this is like, there's some competition to it. I just feel like that's just what it is. Like, you want to kind of see somebody fall flat on their face. And that's what happened. And instead of taking it down, like I was telling these dudes, like, I think you should just take it down. Like, it's cool. They done already got blasted. Like it's 150 comments in. I think he's got it. Like, let it rock, man. Like, just get rid of it. No, they was like, no, we can't. We're gonna leave it up. We're gonna leave it up. I'm like, damn, just crucifying this guy right on the page, and like that was it. Man.
But that's because they was on the low key. They was trying to get rid of homie anyway. So, but that's me being conspiracy theory karma. So I'm not gonna get into
this whole ordeal.
All right, go ahead.
Very, very good. All right, so a lot of people ask me, and I get this still to this day. People bringing up the whole Digital Army post, and they're like, if you could go back, would you have done it differently or not done that? My answer to them is no. I would have did the exact same thing. Yeah. Now, I hear a lot of you here right now saying that was obviously not the way to go. We should have handled it better. I disagree. So here's my issue with Digital Army. I feel like they did everything wrong. And I feel like people tried to help them along the way before the fire happened, but they just basically were of the opinion, fuck all y'all, we're going to do it anyways. And then when it failed, they kind of got what they deserved, in my opinion.
Okay.
So here's the things that they did wrong. They first popped up to promote their tournament by sponsoring players at RDR, right? That's the first time I ever heard of Digital Army.
That was mine too.
So
one of the guys came and was like, "Hey man, we're trying to recruit for the DA, man."
Exactly. So right, cool. Never heard of you before. And how about this? We've heard this story a billion times with people besides Digital Army. They try to buy their way in by sponsoring players to promote their event. All right, first off, that's the wrong way to go about it, right? So they're just sponsoring players indiscriminately. They have no idea who these people are. So you were talking about they had wrong people representing them. With Silver Dragon, that dude literally had never showed up to a tournament before then.
To anything.
And they just didn't do their research. You know what I'm saying? A lot of this is just organizations not doing their research. They're just saying, oh, if you want to be in Digital Army, we'll sponsor you, promote our event. Like, nah. Any gaming organization, any real organization would background check all that, check your credentials, like how long you've been playing, blah, blah, blah. That's the first thing they did wrong. Second thing, they tried to communicate with the community leaders like Ricky and blah, blah, blah. They apparently, that didn't go well for them. So they were basically trying to get them to change the date of their tournament, right?
Yeah, I remember that.
Because RDR was on the same day, right?
Yeah.
So I believe that tournament was held at their Land of the Dead event or something like that. So they didn't want to change the event date because they had basically a whole event that was separate from the fighting game tournaments on that same day. So they were basically like, hey, we can't really change this because we have this big old LAN thing happening. Mm-hmm. So that was a mistake on their part too. And I'm not sure how they could have avoided that. Maybe they should have just scrapped the idea entirely, but having those tournaments on the same day, I don't think was a good idea. That's basically why they lost the support from all the gaming organizations here. Okay, so then the prize pool. So people are paying in that tournament, right? Was it a free tournament? I don't think it was free.
I think it was like, I don't think it wasn't free, but I feel like it wasn't like anything crazy at the same time either.
Okay, well anyways, you're paying, here's my deal. I'm not cool with tournaments that give out prizes for you paying in like non-cash prizes. I think that's stupid as hell, personally. Now, other people, they'll be like, hey, Quantum Dragon's a nice stick, blah, blah, blah. I think that's really stupid. If I'm paying into a tournament, I don't want to get a like prize. If I wanted to do that shit, I'll go play in a Nintendo tournament. I'll go play in a Yu-Gi-Oh tournament, all these other dumbass organizations. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay, next problem. The tournament was run with many, many problems. So, and people like you tried to give them tips, I recall too, and they're like, "Nah, we got this. We know what we're doing." Blah blah blah. They're talking all this shit, and we were like, "Okay, y'all really got that." And then the tournament happens, and it's a fire, right? So
Dumpster fire.
Dumpster fire. And what really had me pissed off and why I went so hard, all the people that went to the tournament, they were coming to RDR telling me how bad it was. And what really ticked me off is when all the Tulsa people were telling me how bad it was. They came all the way down from Tulsa to play in your tournament, and it was some garbage. They were playing MK11, was it?
I think it wasn't even patched. I think
That's
there was no
patch. It wasn't patched or something.
There was no patch. There was no DLC. So if I remember, like Sugar Nuts or somebody was playing Shang Tsung, he couldn't even play his character, bro. Yeah. Like, are you kidding me? And then there was other problems, like the game wasn't patched. He cloned the console using the same thing. So the basically he had the game code for 2 different consoles, so you can't play the game at the same time. You know what I'm saying? You have to buy the game again, the license or whatever. So he was doing a whole bunch of like noob ass shit, right? And then our boy Akash comes and he can't even play in the tournament. And it's like Akash don't come out for any tournament. You know what I'm saying? So you having him out and then you don't let him in, like there's something wrong. There's a real big disconnect there. And that shows how much they didn't do their research because they don't know who any of these people are. They're just throwing some event, taking people's money and giving them some prize. You know what I'm saying? They didn't even pay them out in cash.
Wasn't there only like 20 people allowed to play or something like that?
Something to that effect. But my problem with that was
it was like a player cap.
I don't have a problem with a player cap, but my problem was a lot of them players didn't even show up, and they still wouldn't let them in the tournament.
I remember that.
Oh, that's crazy.
Now that you're bringing that up, I do remember that. I do remember that now.
So there was a whole bunch of problems with that tournament, and all those people are coming to RDR and telling me, so what am I supposed to do? I was, at that time, I would like to think of myself as like a community leader at that time. Maybe not now, but back then I was playing a lot of games, blah, blah, blah. I was at every tournament. I was very recognizable, and people knew me as the person that didn't sugarcoat anything, and I would tell them like it is.
Yeah.
So, and back at that time, I also had ties with all the gaming organizations, HXC, GOE. I knew all the people working there, right? So when they told me about this whole entire dumpster fire, and I'm like, bro, we done seen this happen a billion times. And this dude was talking all this shit, talking about his tournament was be godlike, blah, blah, blah. And it was trash. I was like, nah, I gotta let these fools know. And you would know how many people were messaging me on Facebook after I made that post, and they're like, thank you.
But you know what? I'll kind of speak on this too, right? Like I don't want to just beat it because I feel like we've just beat it to the oblivion.
Y'all beat
like,
the dead horse, bro. That horse been dead.
This is what I mean though by that. I guess that's just my whole point. Like the fact that the guys in the community were like, thank you. Like, why do they have to go to guys like Biggs or guys like Coop to get a point across? Why couldn't they just tell him right then and there at his tournament, hey, this shit is fucked up, man. You know what I mean? Instead of like shaking his hand and being in his face like, hey, man, I appreciate you coming. I appreciate your tournament, man. Like, thanks for the pizza. It was a good tournament. Because I imagine that just didn't happen. I just feel like that didn't happen.
No, nobody said nothing, bro.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I just feel like that didn't happen at the tournament. So like it's like I smile in your face. I'm like, it's cool, but then I go to RDR and I'm like, man, that shit was trash, boy. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I don't know. I just feel like that's the disconnect there. I guess
I think it's
go ahead. No, go ahead.
I think it also just comes with, you can wait in the scene though. Like if you're, kind of new and you're probably not going to say nothing at the time, but if you've been here a while and you're really committed to the scene, you might say something a little bit more.
Yeah.
So I think that might have something to do with it. I don't know like who all was there, but yeah.
That'd be better suited for somebody who was there. Maybe Biggs knows who was there. But
you can continue if you're gonna finish.
No, I mean I don't know who was there. I just wanted to know, like if y'all knew and if it was anybody new or was it any old heads? Because I know if I was there, shit, I done told Ricky and Rashard about their events. And they've been doing this for however long. Yeah. I straight, hey man, this ain't how you do this.
Man,
this ain't right,
man.
Yeah, these monitors. Hey, this ain't working, bro. I ain't got no sound, bro. This ain't working. You know what I'm saying? We in this little bitty room. We need to branch out. I'm telling you.
Yeah,
I've been on that. So that's why I'm like, hey, can't nobody get nothing past me. So I wonder who was there. I don't know.
Yeah,
like I said, that horse been dead for a long time, bro.
And it just comes back to that, no, in terms of that, though. That's just the shit I'm just talking about, though. In terms of community, like, I don't like that. I just don't like that. Like, we gotta use guys like Biggs or guys like Coop to just like, cut that. You know what I mean? Like, and then instead, like, he was probably thinking after his tournament, like, man, I think I did a great job. And then to go home and then get that, like, oh my God, like, can you imagine that? Like, damn, like, well, I thought shit was sweet. You know what I mean? Everybody was telling me it was sweet, but I guess not. You know what I'm saying?
Again,
so
it shouldn't take anybody who's been in the community for a while to tell you that your event wasn't ran properly. You know what I'm saying? If you know tournament standards, just like anybody can Google tournament standard, and you don't got a patch, hey bro, why y'all running this with no patch?
Ain't got no patch, bro. Like,
why I can't play my character in this game, bro? Like it's simple stuff. It's like he said, they didn't do their research. They didn't do their research, bro. Yeah, that's it.
So I guess it just comes back a little bit to the players and the TOs. I guess there's both sides to that, and to some degree, I feel like there's both sides of that. Like the players got to hold that accountable, and at the same time, the TOs do too, man. So, yeah, man, just moving from that, right? So in terms of like community, right? Like I guess we go ahead and wrap this up a little bit. We've been talking for a minute. I don't want to get too crazy. I know we spent a lot of time on those DA dudes. Whatever. The deed is done. Like it's been done. But
spin the block again. Biggs just want to do a drive by again. that was his ass.
But yeah, nah, man. I guess just like moving forward, right? Like obviously, Oklahoma FGC, right? Do you guys think we just got to do better out here? Like, are we doing a good job? Like, what overall? Because obviously, we had to have this talk because obviously people feel some type of way. So, like, are we going in the right direction or are we not going in the right direction? Like, what the fuck is going on? You know what I mean? Like, just overall, like. Anybody?
All right, I'm gonna go.
I'll
first.
Say, yeah. I think
no. Hold on, Taylor.
No, let
go ahead, Big.
First, because I'm gonna take a minute. So go ahead, Taylor.
I got time.
It's okay. I think we just need to rep each other. Like anybody who first of all, I'm gonna like right after this, I'm gonna be in the Discord. I'm gonna be playing Tekken. Anybody who comes will be laughing, trying to get better. Like just kind of the same thing every day. But if I hear anybody saying, talking about one of my guys, all I'm going to be doing is talking them up. So if anybody says anything about Mario or, Ahab or, FBM or Coop, I'm going to be talking about, and they're from an out of state. I'm going to talk about how Coop's going to fuck them up. I'm going to just talk everybody up. And I think you should be that way. You should be ridiculous. You should be have a little bravado. Like you should have that confidence. Like we should be out there. Like we're gonna take you. Like I think and I don't think you need to be crazy. I'm not gonna say that to Joey Fury or somebody. But you understand what I'm saying? Like I think we need to have a little swag. Like
confidence.
Really,
we say that
confident. Believe you can win. Like really get in there. And I think we should do that everywhere we go.
Have each other's backs and shit.
We're Oklahoma
man.
City. We're OKC. We're here. You're welcome. We're here. Like that's how we should be acting.
We say that to everybody, bro.
Yeah.
No, so I definitely get that. Go ahead, Karma.
My bad. I'm sorry. My wife walked in. Hold on. Y'all go ahead.
Fine, no, I mean, I definitely agree with that. It's just, I guess it's kind of like, if I had to compare it to something, it's like UFC, right? Like having that Nate Diaz, like Nate Diaz Army, motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? Like it's that same vibe. It's just that swagger, I guess. That's what you're saying. We just need to have more of that. That's what you're saying.
Yes. That's exactly what I'm saying.
Okay. What about you, FBM?
I just think we just need to have more communication. Like if the TOs are going to post an event that that they don't really want people to go to, then why post it? If it's going to be an event that they want people to go to, then post it like crazy. They would do it for Super Bit Wars, but I don't know. Just I guess communicate more.
I got you. Okay. So you're just saying like if they don't want like if we're not trying to include these other events, then why even post the events in the community? Is that what you're saying? Is that
I mean, yeah, because he posted it once, and it's like, well, he's on the venue, so I would imagine he would want more people to show up. I didn't find out about it until like the day before, so that's probably my bad. But there was only one post about it that I had to search for, and no one's talking about it in Discord. So I don't know if he wanted people to know about it or not, but I think it would be cool if, like, if there's going to be an event, let everybody know. I mean, War Guts does. I mean, you know, Kellen does.
Yeah.
Even if it's something light, you know, like
Yeah.
a local thing only. I mean, just like, hey, this is going down. Like, it should be like, you should be proud to, like, I don't know, have a bunch of people there. If that's what we're trying to do.
Yeah. Okay. Man, I think that's fair.
That's all I'm saying. Just like communication. Like, you're gonna post an event, like, fucking post that shit. Let people know. Like, they're in the Discord. I don't see why they, you know. But
okay. What about you, Karma? You ready, man? I see you over there. You know, trying to get right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, bro.
You good,
Yeah.
baby?
Nah, she over here doing some extra. But what was the question, bro?
Bro,
No, I have my answer.
You couldn't even look, bro. I'm gonna come back to you, bro. You couldn't even.
No, we good. Because we about to get off of this in just a second. What was the question?
Nah, I just like moving forward from like the FGC, right? What do you think needs to happen, man? Like in terms of like the growth, the development, like what?
That was the question that you said. Yeah, that and do I think what happened with the FGC, was it on an uphill or was it on downhill?
Like like just what's going on overall.
Even
man,
before, this is not a feat stream, but even before what's it called? Even before the COVID stuff started, we had kind of like not tailed off, but it had flatlined. Like it was on a slow incline for a hot minute, but it kind of flatlined, and it wasn't going down, but it wasn't going up. Yeah. And COVID hit, and it kind of fucked everything up. Also, it wasn't helping that there was a lot of games with shit net code, so that didn't help either. That time, Tekken's net code was shit. Street Fighter's net code was dog, and I don't know whatever else people was playing, but so I mean, it wasn't really bad, but kind of just stalemated, fell apart.
Yeah.
Not really fell apart again, but it just kind of stalemated, and we're small as it is, so it doesn't really help. You know, it was growing, but like I said, that COVID stuff kind of messed it up. So hopefully, with the return of some of these new games with better net code, got rollback. They're putting rollback on old games. Hopefully, we'll keep growing and, you know, keep progressing. But I've said my piece on this. You know what I'm saying? It's a lack of community and communication. We can fix the community aspect and the communication. It'll keep progressing as planned.
I think that's fair. That's fair. All right, you know what I'm saying? And you know, you had to say that that's for last. That boy Biggs, man. Like, talk to me, dog. What you feeling, man? What you thinking?
All right, I'm gonna respond to each of what y'all said first, and then I'll go into.
And then you gonna drop. Okay, I got you.
Exactly.
Go ahead.
All right, TaylorSage basically said that we need to support each other when dealing with out-of-state people. I think that was the gist of his argument. I get a lot of flack for shit talking people, and people call me toxic, blah blah blah.
I was joking, bro.
You're not the only one. I'm not even talking about you.
If you do, I don't think you should.
I'm not even talking about you, FBM.
I think we all need to be more vocal. I think
I'm not even talking about FBM. I've heard this from a lot of other people before, and I ain't even talking about him. Now, that's fair assessment, blah, blah, blah. I think that's fine.
Hold on. How you going to say, man, it's a lot of people that say I'm toxic, but it's true, though. But still.
I'm just saying.
Right, my bad. Go ahead.
That's fair assessment, whatever you want to say, right? All right, cool. I be shit talking to Ray, blah, blah, blah. It's because I really thought he was bad. Now, whenever dealing with people out of state, usually I would support Oklahoma players. Usually.
That's facts. He's put money on a money match for me. That's facts.
Exactly. Usually I would support Oklahoma players. But in order for the scene to get propped up, we need to have better players. There's two ways to prop the scene up. You can prop it up through the organizations, and that could be your tournament organizers or your local gaming organizations, or even your player teams like ONI or whatever. So that's a way you could prop it up. And then you could prop it up with players themselves, good players. People go to streams that have good players because they want to see the good players. The reason we don't get no views is because everybody here is trash. So in order to prop the scene up, you can't just have the organizations doing everything. Because let's say Super Bit Wars happens once every year. Well, that's only one time a year people are going to be checking for us. You feel me?
Yeah.
So we need to have other avenues of doing that. And to be honest with you, we don't have that. Now on to FBM, he was saying that basically we aren't promoting tournaments like we should. And I already talked about this. We didn't promote that tournament. Well, I'm saying we, not that I have any say in it. But the tournament wasn't really promoted because we don't know who those people are. So imagine, let's put yourself in Ricky's shoes, right? And I don't want to be like on Ricky's dick or anything, like I'm his like lawyer trying to explain everything he does. But just put yourself in his shoes, right? I'm Ricky. I have a gaming organization that runs a good tournament every year, Superbit Wars, that has people fly out. I don't know anything about this tournament that's about to happen, but I'm going to support it like it was one of my own tournaments on Facebook. People then go to that tournament. That tournament is trash. They don't even know. The people who went there don't even know who the tournament's run by. And they're like, damn, who did I hear this tournament from? Ricky? I ain't going to his shit. That nigga doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. You feel me on that? Like, do you understand? So I don't necessarily think that's a fair assessment. Now, I will say this. Sometimes people coming in the scene running tournaments are throwing the tournament to find the scene. And you see this with a lot of players in the remote areas. Let's say like Lawton, for instance. There might be a player in Lawton who throws a Guilty Gear tournament because they don't know where the Guilty Gear scene is at. So they're trying to find people, basically. But that situation is completely different from a gaming organization who's trying to come in like aforementioned Digital Army or something like that. I think it's completely different. Now, to Bad Karma, he's talking about basically how he thinks the growth even before COVID was kind of stalled. I don't think that is necessarily the case. I think we were on a pretty good path pre-COVID. If we think back in February of 2020, we just changed venue to the Chalk. Right.
Yeah, Chalk was, I'm not gonna lie, that was like
that was awesome.
Was everybody here at that tournament?
Facts. I was,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay, so
From
what I recall, that tournament was actually really nice. And you know what? I believe that was the most people of RDR that we had recently. The venue was packed. It was a nice venue. We had so many games there, and there was people playing in every game. And the games were dead too. Like Street Fighter is a dead game.
Sam Show,
Soul Calibur, Sam Show. They even had Believe in Victory. Grand Blue was there. You know what I'm saying? And that game is DOA. So there was players in every game, and there was a lot of faces I seen came out there that I ain't seen in years. The guy who plays Street Fighter that plays Cammy, I forget his tag. Drummist, he was there. Yeah. I ain't seen him in years, bro.
It was a bunch of folks that was there.
Exactly.
That I was surprised to see.
We had so many people there. So I feel like before COVID, the FGC in general, not just in Oklahoma, I feel like it was blowing up so big, right? And there was all these new games coming out too, like Guilty Gear was announced, blah, blah, blah. So there was so much going up, but then COVID destroyed everything, right? Now,
Didgeridoo, I'm sorry to cut you off. Didgeridoo said there was 88 people there total.
Yeah, I'm not surprised because the venue was packed, right? So now that COVID happened, everything has been destroyed, right? And I feel like the scene in general, not just Oklahoma, but FGC in general, the future is just so uncertain right now.
For sure.
And I have no idea whether we're going to pick up where we left off, if that's even feasible. Like we were talking earlier with tournaments that are starting to happen, like CEO, blah, blah, blah. I think all of that's a mistake. I think it's a little too early for that. But I don't know how this is going to end up because the pandemic has changed the game in many more ways than just stifling growth, right?
I mean, just like outside of FGC, the economy, like everything.
Yes, but I'll speak more on this personally. PS5 has destroyed tournament organizers. They can't afford to run tournaments on PS5. They can't afford the consoles. That's put so many people out of business, and you haven't even realized it yet because there's no tournaments, right? Next, the Me Too movement has destroyed tournaments. Evo is not the same tournament it ever were. It'll never be the same tournament ever again.
That's
a lot of people don't realize that. So what's the next big tournament? Is it Combo Breaker? Is it CEO? We don't know because the pandemic, there is no tournaments. So what's going to happen? We don't know. It's not just no offline scene has destroyed everything. The game has completely changed with new consoles. Tournaments have gone out of business for whatever reason. So we really don't know. And I think that's very scary, actually.
Yeah.
There may never be offline tournaments again like they used to be. And
sure.
I don't think people realize that yet. Yeah. So I think that's all I have to say, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think I got
I think you hit that right on the head, man. I definitely like you could have said it any better. Like there's just a lot of uncertainty. And yeah, I definitely feel like those like the bit wars that was coming up like right before that, the pandemic hit, like the chalk had just it was a nice venue. I'm not gonna lie. Like it was the
venue was lit. The tournament was lit. Y'all had commentary and stuff. They had a trophy and some.
Dude, they had commentators. They had like people that were didn't know shit about FGC. Like just like watching.
A lot of people just there watching.
It was that felt like the vibe. It felt like, man, it felt like we were on the launch pad. Like, dude, we're about to take off, man. Like, and just boom, just that next month we got blitzed, bro. Like. And it sucked, and I really feel for those guys. I really do. All those TOs and everybody like just kind of going through this right now. But
I want to ask Biggs a question about that he just stated real quick. You said the tournament stuff won't ever be the same. The offline stuff, is that just because of the PS5 deal, like the shortage, or all the scalpers, like people can't run the stuff on PC, or is it just COVID? They can't like mandate COVID test and all that, or is it like combination? Like, why do you say that there won't be offline, or it won't ever be the same, basically?
I'm not saying that there won't. I'm not saying that we can't go back to offline events. What I'm saying is I'm not convinced that it will be the same as it was before. Mm-hmm. I think this is a really big setback. Basically, it's like we're in the dark ages again. Like if you know about the FGC dark ages or whatever, a lot of you may not know that because you weren't around that long. But we're kind of at that point again. But we're in current times, so it makes it very weird. But speaking on offline tournaments, how it's never going to be the same. A lot of people have gotten real comfortable playing online right now, and like you say, netcode is getting better. Blah blah blah. It's a lot easier. Well, I don't want to say easier. It's a lot cheaper to run an online tournament than it is to run an offline tournament. And there's a lot less risk involved too. Nobody's going to be stealing your consoles and stuff like that. So I think a lot of gaming orgs are getting real smart about this. They're like, why do I need to run an offline tournament if I could get way more players online and I don't have to deal with all the risk, right? Then COVID compounds that, right? You don't want to be that event that was a super spreader or something like that. People will never forget that.
They'll never forget.
And then, me too. Every tournament, this is a whole nother conversation entirely, but every tournament I've been to, there's always some sort of sexual harassment thing going on. Somebody's getting raped at a tournament, and a lot of people don't want to talk about this, but it happens, right? So every event I've ever been to, or every event in existence, there's always something bad going that happens outside the tournament too. So online tournaments completely defeat that purpose as well. Then the PS5 thing, organizations are getting put out of business, and a lot of people don't understand this. I really don't want to drop names, but there's a lot of big tournament names I could drop right now that literally cannot have a PS5 event if a new game was to come out on PS5. Let's say like a new game came out, PS5 is the tournament standard, and everybody's playing that game. Let's say Street Fighter 6 drops tomorrow, right? And it's on PS5 exclusive. PS5 costs how much money right now?
MSRP is $500.
Okay,
wait.
If you can get one, but right, MSRP $500 would still put everyone out of business. How many consoles they have to run a tournament? As big as the game SF5 is, let's say they need like 30 consoles, right?
I was gonna say they need at least 4 per game. Or if you're talking about a major tournament, they need at least 20 to 25.
Yeah, let's say they need 25 consoles, right? Times 500. You think they can afford that?
Shit, no.
I know a lot of people think these tournament organizers make a lot of money, right? Nah. Okay, but wait. That's just the console. I ain't even talking about the game. I'm not even talking about the DLC. You understand what I'm saying? So all these tournament organizers, whether they admit it or not outwardly, they've already thought about this before the pandemic even happened. There was tournaments before the pandemic when they announced the PS5, they had these tournament organizers shook because they didn't know what the fuck to do. So a lot of people the pandemic has slowed this response though. So let's say the pandemic never happened and the world just went on, these people would already be gone. But now, because the pandemic happened, it's giving them a buffer time. So it's kind of slowed the events. But once the pandemic is over, hopefully these people will have enough like capital and stuff to do all their tournaments. But if they don't, you're going to see people dropping like flies, and people don't realize this.
Yeah. No, 100%. That was, dude, that's like right on the money, bro. You called that. It's just really the issue right now. And yeah, I think a lot of people don't think about it like in that aspect and deep like that. I don't think people get that deep with it, man. I definitely don't. But yeah, I mean, like outside of the FGC, I mean, like you got a PS5 now. Like, why don't you think there are any games? Like we got a PS5 out, but there's like no games for the PS5. Like what is out for the PS5 right now? Like, just
and that's PS5. I haven't even factored in the whole PC move to PC movement. Yeah, that would destroy people even worse.
Because the PC is way more expensive and it's harder to get parts than the PS5. Yeah, and I know that firsthand.
Yeah, with these chip shortages and everything, man. It's just,
GPU shortage, mining, all kind of stuff, man. Like it wouldn't like that was the herd solution. Was, oh, we can't get a PS5, let's move to PC. No, it's more expensive over here. Y'all don't want that. I promise.
Yeah.
You got to get 20 PCs? No, sir. No, sir.
So it just comes down to like who's gonna survive, you know, like, but you know, who's gonna survive, who's gonna be in place and ready once everything kind of gets back into the swing. And personally, like, yeah, I just think it's gonna take a lot of these TOs a long time to just kind of recuperate from this, like how Big was saying. Like it's a lot of factors. There's a lot of moving parts to this, man. And I mean, we just don't know. Like, you know, saying the FGC, we're already like the redheaded stepchild of like, you know, the FBS world or the you know the what is it,
of gaming in general, we're the redheaded stepchild
for sure
compared to FPS or MMOs or fucking, well, not MMOs.
It's like League. What is that?
League of Legends. I forgot what kind of game style that is.
That's I forgot if I could forget, man. But
y'all know MOBA.
Big. Yeah, what was that MOBA? I don't
Bullshit.
know. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what we're talking about. But like, yeah, it's just insane. It's just kind of affected everything as a whole, man. But yeah, you know, everybody in the chat, MOBA. Yeah, thanks guys, thanks chat. But yeah, man, that was pretty much it for this, man, right? Like we kind of just jumped everywhere, but this is cool. I like to have these conversations. Like, you know, I like to have just these talks with people in the scene, in the community, just kind of getting different feedback from everybody in and just kind of seeing where everybody's at is in terms of the scene, in terms of just outside of the scene, how it's going to affect TOs, so on and so forth. You guys got any like last remarks, anything you guys want to leave, your Twitters, Facebook, or just anything you guys want to say before we get ahead and chalk this up?
I'm good. I love the scene. I just love everybody here.
I love you too, bro.
Thank you.
Love you, Taylor.
Thank you.
What's wrong with y'all?
Say it like you mean it, though.
Oh my God!
I'll call you after. How's that?
Follow, and subscribe to my Twitch, bro. Twitch.tv/OGbadKarma. Just keep growing the community, man. Do what y'all got to do. Fight the good fight. Shit is long and hard, but somebody got to do it. Peace, love, and light. That's all I got.
Hey, what about you, FBM? What you got, bro?
I mean, just stay lifted, stay positive, and you know, keep the energy light, man. Yeah.
Okay. I feel it. What about you, Biggs? You got anything, man? You got anything, bro?
I'm always down to talk. If anybody wants to shoot me something on Discord, name's just Biggs. Facebook, you probably already know me anyways. You can hit me up on Twitter at FTRBiggs. Just tell me something. I'm always down to argue, you know. Tell me what's on your mind.
It's toxic, man.
What's on your mind, baby?
You can pull up in person.
Yeah, you can pull up, man.
You can pull up in person. I ain't scary. You know
Biggs, what I'm saying? I be telling him all the time, bro. Like I fucks with my man Biggs. He's just a straight up guy. You're just a straight shooter, bro. Ain't nothing wrong with that, man. And sometimes you need that straight shooter to regulate it, man. You know, you got to have that positive and negative, baby. You know. But yeah, boy, your boy Koopa G. You know what I'm saying? I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Thank you guys for tuning out, like the fans and everybody in here, the viewers. Like, I appreciate you guys hanging around in the chat. You know, shout out to Artemis, Evil Aku, Punished, Hikarius, Saint, Digier, all these guys that came in, man, and just showed love to the stream. I appreciate you guys. We couldn't have a stream if it wasn't for you guys. You know, like nobody, you guys like just want to sit here and listen to us talk about shit. Like, you know, we're just glad that we have people that are like that in the scene and really care. And I want to just see the scene with their best foot forward, man. So it's been the Koopa Keep Podcast, man. And we're going to go ahead and wrap this up, and we'll catch you guys on the next episode. All right. Peace.